What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. So now, let me just read something off to you real quick. I'm familiar with this fighter, of course, but I want to make a mention of something, and I'm going to lead to something else because what I'm going to lead to had nothing to do with what I'm about to mention. But I just want to clear the air on something because people love to make comparisons when they just lose focus on what you're actually talking about in the first place. Okay. Katie Taylor, who's a well accomplished fighter, um, pound for pound, possibly the best female fighter. Hey, I'm not into the debating, man. We all have our opinions on what we think and what we see, but clearly, um, let me just start with this, okay? So, Katie Taylor, she's a two-weight world champion and the current undisputed light heavyweight champion, okay? Now, she's held the WBA title since 2017, the IBF since 2018, WBC and WBO and Ring Magazine title since 2019, as well as the WBO Junior Welterweight title in 2019. Okay, now, the fight with, what's her name, Delphine Persoon or whatever, I seen, that was the last fight I actually remember watching of her, but I've been, I'm aware of what she's done. Okay, now, again, okay, for some reason she became one of only 8 boxers in history of female or male to hold all 4 major titles in boxing: WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO simultaneously. Okay. Now, in her amateur career, she won 5 consecutive gold medals at the Women's World Championships, gold 6 times at the European Championships, and gold 5 times at European Union Championships, okay? Then she's very popular in Ireland, okay. Now, here's the thing. Katie Taylor is a very talented fighter. And whoever's been on my channel, if you've been with me from day one, you already know. I don't care about debating about who I think is better, who's whatever. Everybody has their own opinion, okay? My thing is this. I cannot guarantee you what a fighter's going to show up and do on fight night. I can only go by what I've seen, the consistency of what I've seen in fighters, and you can believe, I can believe, but I'm not into that. I do not know what's going to happen fight night. That's why we have what you call upsets. That's why people are so shocked when certain things happen certain ways. Now, considering both fighters at their best, yeah, like I said, I have no problem with being wrong if I'm making a prediction. I'm not really into the prediction so much, but there's times where I may say, I think this guy's going to beat this guy, this woman's going to beat this woman. Okay, pause. Okay, now, let me read you something about Claressa Shields. Okay, we know that she basically won. She's a 2-time gold medalist. Okay, we know that. Now, let's see. Claressa Shields. Okay, so we know she's held multiple world titles in 3 weight classes and reigned as undisputed female middleweight champion from 2019 to 2020. She's never lost. Okay, she held the unified WBA, WBC, IBF female middleweight titles since 2018 and the WBO female middleweight title from 2019, of course, to 2020. She also held the unified WBC female light middleweight title since January 20th, and unified WBC and the IBF female super middleweight titles. Now, she currently holds the record for becoming a 2 and 3 weight division world champion with the fewest professional fights. Okay? As of November 20th, she's ranked as the world's best active female light middleweight by the Ring Magazine. Okay. Okay, as well as the best active female boxer pound for pound by ESPN. Now, okay. Now, the other people who held the title, the other 8 people, unified titles simultaneously, was Bernard Hopkins, Jermaine Taylor, Cecilia Breakers, Terrence Crawford, Alexander Usyk, Katie Taylor, and Jessica McCaskill, who was another solid fight at 140. but nobody brings Jessica McCaskill up, okay? Which would be more logical for her, okay, to fight against Katie Taylor, okay, because Claressa Shields has been all up to 168 pounds. Okay, here's the reality. McCaskill and Katie Taylor are too small for Claressa Shields. Okay, and let me say this first, okay, and then I'm gonna get to my point of what I posted about Claressa Shields, and I mean what I said. I said she's head and shoulders above everybody else, and I mean that. Okay, and as far as amateur experience, well, here's the thing. There's people who has had great, okay, amateur careers. What you do in the pros, okay, that's something different. We had a guy like Henry Tillman who beat Mike Tyson twice in the pros. What happened when they got in the amateurs? What happened when they got to the pros? Mike destroyed him both times. I mean, destroyed him. But in the amateurs, he beat Mike Tyson twice. This guy Gonzalez, who beat Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis in the amateurs. As a pro, he couldn't hang with these guys. Now, Katie Taylor, by no stretch, is any slouch, but I posted a photo of Claressa Shields, and I'm giving her credit because most people don't give her credit, okay? No matter what this woman accomplished, it's like they have a focus on everyone else, okay? Now, over here in the States, Claressa Shields, okay, doesn't even get the support of the American public. So I don't know why people feel the need to compare Katie Taylor to Claressa Shields or to any fighter who's in separate weight classes when we're not talking about one weight class apart. Okay, she's too small to fight Claressa Shields. Claressa Shields can't go down to 135 and fight her. So I would. It's more logical that McCaskill and Katie Taylor would fight. Okay, for one, if Katie Taylor was to come all the way up to gain all this weight to go and fight Claressa Shields, you want to know the first thing that people would say when she lose? She was naturally too small. If they were the same size, and all this what if, which is nonsense. I meant what I said. Her accomplishments, okay, and to unify two weight classes, okay, and what she's doing, it's going where people are trying to just, they try to sweep it under the rug. So I have the right, just like anybody else, to give props to who I want to, and I never once brought Katie Taylor's name up. Katie Taylor is an excellent fighter. She's a great fighter, but so is Claressa, and they fight at two different weight classes. So when I'm speaking about Claressa Shields and what she's doing and how she's head and shoulders above the rest, I'm really only speaking about people that is in her respective weight classes. Okay, they have Canelo Alvarez as pound for pound best fighter. Do you think Canelo Alvarez could beat Anthony Joshua? Do you think Canelo Alvarez could beat Tyson Fury? You don't understand what I'm saying? Common sense. No, he can't. They beat his little ass, okay? It's as simple as that. Pound for pound, what they're looking for. It's only opinions, first of all. Even if somebody was to say, hey, yeah, you're right, I think Claressa, I don't need somebody to support what I'm saying for me to believe what I'm saying. I meant what I said. And someone also made a comment and said her competition is weak. Well, what women's division is strong? Every women's division may have one or two females that have a name, but it's like one name particular. That's why when the women's division, you have so many women who talk trash to each other, but they're not even in the same weight classes because you don't have 4 and 5 breakout stars in one division. Name one women's division. I'm not talking about women that you know. We know some of the women who's there. It's the women's divisions are not popular, which is one of the main reasons why Claressa Shields is in the situation that she's in over here in America, because Claressa Shields' opponents don't have names. Don't say that Christine was in the Hammer and who did she what's the woman she beat? Forget her name, but no, she's beaten some people who people was praising until Claressa Shields beat them, and that's facts. They were praising them. And then, oh, well, it's only because of this and that. And it's like, listen, I don't care about the pettiness of it. I don't praise people. I don't do that idol worship stuff. I'm just looking at the facts and looking at what I see and what I feel based off what I see. I don't care about who people personally think is pound for pound this and that. I'm looking at this woman's accomplishments. So I'm not even comparing McCaskill or Katie Taylor or anybody who she's not going to fight. That makes no sense to me. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm strictly looking at the weight classes that she can fight in. That's what I'm looking at. I don't care nothing about what this person did at that weight class and that weight class. So that's why there was no names. You understand what I'm saying? Not even in the weight class that she's in or the weight class that she's fought in. But at the same time, okay, this woman does not get her just due. She basically has this whole, no matter what she does, it's yeah, but this, yeah, but that. Okay, we had people even comparing her, like, you know, her and Layla Ali had words going back and forth. Now, you know what's funny? A lot of people said, oh, she's too small for Layla. Okay, so let me get this. She's too small for Layla, but Katie Taylor isn't too small for Claressa. And we're talking about a woman who's going all the way up to 168 in Claressa. Now, she's shorter than Layla. And so what? But Katie Taylor is fighting at 135. This woman was already at 168. And she's not too small for Claressa Shields. But Claressa's too small for Layla. Not only that, a Layla who was retired for over a decade and is going to come back and just beat Claressa Shields. I mean, like, seriously. And let's be real. When Layla Ali was active, Layla Ali, when she beat Christy Martin, before she fought Christy Martin was super confident that she could beat Layla. She talked about how Layla can't do this, Layla can't do that. She's living off her father's name. I heard so many people saying Christy Martin was going to do it because Christy Martin's experience. And as soon as she got the snot beat out of her, oh, it's because Layla was bigger. Layla Ali basically called out Ann Wolf several times. Nothing happened. Ann Wolf said she called out Layla, and it was always... But when the fight didn't happen, people who just don't like Layla, oh man, she ducked Ann Wolf. How did she duck Ann Wolf? You say, okay, who says? Again, the rumor stuff. Who says? Who says? My thing is the fight didn't happen. Why it didn't happen, I really don't even care. But to say somebody ducked, and where's your proof is who ducked who? Based on what? They both said each other's name here and there. And the thing about Ann Wolf was, I used to bring up Ann Wolf's name to people. Nobody knew who the hell I was talking about. The only people who knew who I was talking about was people who were like really heavily into boxing. And people wasn't really caring about women's boxing. So my point, look at Layla Ali's resume. People say the same thing. Oh, she ain't fight nobody. So to say that Claressa Shields is fighting weak people, it's funny how these people are not weak until they lose. It's just the same mentality. Oh, Canelo Alvarez is going to defeat Floyd Mayweather. Canelo was too strong. He's young. He's this. He's that. As soon as he loses, he wasn't ready. He's inexperienced. Man, 40 fights in. Okay, this lady Pristine who fought against Katie Taylor had like 40 fights and 1 loss. Okay, if Katie Taylor would have lost that fight, would the excuse been made that, or she didn't have the experience? No, bullshit. She had the experience. She had a lot of amateur fights. And okay, your skills don't start once you become a pro. You're already there. You're getting better and you're going forward. You're moving, but you're there. Especially when you got to start a start at a younger age. So no, there's no need to make excuses. But had she lost, would that be the excuse? No. Canelo had 300 and something amateur fights. Had more fights than Floyd as an amateur. So how do you say He was inexperienced. He was all this bull crap when you've had people jump in the ring and fight against champs with 7 fights, 10 fights, 13 fights. But nobody made excuses for those individuals. So it's not even about that. So again, I'm not even concerned about comparing fighters who can't fight each other. What's the purpose? So if we're talking pound for pound, like I said, anybody can have their opinions. But my comment had nothing to do with Katie Taylor. And it had nothing to do with anybody that's outside of the divisions that she fights in. Because if they're not going to fight, what's the purpose? Okay, and on top of that, someone also made a comment and said that Claressa Shields is overrated. That's your fucking opinion. Somebody can say Katie Taylor's overrated. That's their opinion. But to say all these make these comparisons and like people, y'all gotta learn how to stick to what's being talked about. Okay, and especially when like for people, whether you live in the States or not, but if you live in the States, then you know Claressa Shields don't get her just due. You know she don't. There's no money being invested into what she's doing and her pay-per-view status and nothing. You know that. If you're not from the States and you don't understand what's happening over here with her career or whatever, same thing. You have to understand what's going on before you start. Like, people just love to just make comments. Like, no, first off, nobody compared her. It's not about, again, like when people say Canelo is pound for pound the best fighter. I don't argue with that. That don't mean I agree. It don't mean I disagree. But like I said, do you think Canelo could get in the ring and beat Anthony Joshua? You think he could get in the ring and beat Tyson Fury? You're stupid if you do. But the same thing. You're talking about a 135-pound fighter. But then if she went up to 160 to fight or 68 to fight, or she was too small. So what's the comparison about? And ESPN, Ring Magazine, whoever, I don't care who's ranking the person. My opinion is not based on what they say, because they say it. That has nothing to do with it. Just giving her props. She pretty much, you know, with the least amount of professional fights and how fast she's done what she's done. Let's not sit here and be hypocritical, okay? Let's not sit here and be hypocritical and say, oh, she's fighting nobodies. Because it's the same way how Leon Spinks just died. And I saw a lot of people talking about how he beat Muhammad Ali. And that is an accomplishment in itself. When first off, let's just be realistic. We know Muhammad Ali was pretty much washed up. But Leon Spinks only had 7 professional fights. Now, let's say if Floyd Mayweather would have fought somebody with only 7 professional fights. You guys would have been all over, oh, man, I can't believe Floyd fought a motherfucker with 7 fights. Oh, man. But because it's Ali, it's like, oh, well, that's different. That's Ali. What makes it different? You fought a guy with only 7 fights. A prime Ali boxed circles around Leon Spinks. Okay? He came back in the rematch and beat him. But at the same time, Muhammad Ali was washed. Simple. But Ali chose to get in the ring. So to sit here and say, oh, this woman fights nobodies. Well, who did Layla Ali fight? Who did Ann Wolf fight? Who was any of these people fighting? Because I guarantee you, without actually sitting there looking up these people and going through, you couldn't even sit here and name 10 female fighters that are badass fight. You have to look up, okay, wait. They're not popular. They don't have names. And I've always said, they don't promote the other female fighters. So, like I said, Claressa Shields is in a position where she's the only known name going into the fight against her opponents. It's not because they're not good. They're just not popular. And you got to understand, the majority of the best fighters she fought is not even from America. So the American public don't know who Christina Hammer is. And they don't know these people. We have far more casual boxing fans now than we have actual boxing fans. We all should know that by now. So this has nothing to do with comparing fighters who are in separate weight classes. It's no need to do that. For what? Because they're not going to fight each other. And Should she have to cut weight to go all the way down to 135 just to drain herself? No. Should Katie Taylor have to bulk up and come all the way up and can't, fighting at an uncomfortable weight? No. What did Canelo say about 168? He said he feels strong at 168. He said he feels really, really strong and he feels comfortable there, right? Which means if he's going to fight Charlo, that means he expects Jermell Charlo to come up. Now, you got people that can say Canelo chose 168 because it's a weak division. Because if you take Billy Joe Saunders' name away, people already and take Benavidez's name away, who do you really have him to fight that you even care about? Because people already saying Caleb Plant is trash. Caleb Plant is overrated. They're saying Benavidez is good, but he can't mess with Canelo. Well, okay, well, if neither one of them can beat Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders can't beat Canelo, then what's he doing in that division? What's the purpose of fighting at 168? Now you have people that can say he chose that division because it's weak and he just wanted to be able to have another accomplishment to say he unified a weak-ass division. It's always going to be something somebody's going to say that, oh, this guy did this because of this and that. I'll say this, okay? And I'm going to move away from Claressa Shields. It never had nothing to do with Katie Taylor, but I wanted to give her props because it's like people here, you give your opinion. Everybody else want to give their opinion. Nobody's asking the woman. There's reasons why I said what I said, and I'm gonna continue to say what I have to say. So there's no malice and no hard feelings about anything, but it has nothing to do with anything. Okay, nothing to do with nothing. What I said about her had nothing to do with Katie Taylor or McCaskill or anybody else. But anytime this woman beats anybody, oh, she's a nobody. I forget the lady name that she beat. And people made excuses and actually, oh, she really lost, which was bull crap. If you think Claressa lost that fight, you don't know shit about boxing. You don't know shit about nothing. There's no way in hell Claressa Shields lost that fight. Not even came close to losing that fight. It was a good fight, but Claressa Shields completely outclassed it and started pulling away and completely took the fight away from her. Man, I forget her name. She kind of reminds me of Cecilia Brækhus. They kind of resemble each other in the face. But anyway, pause. Okay, Hannah Gabriels, that's the name I'm thinking about. And right now, if you go on Hannah Gabriel's social media, anything, or go on YouTube, whatever, people tell her how great of a fighter she is. She's a fantastic fighter. So I guess she's a nobody. But yet somehow she's a nobody. Stop with all the Claressa Shields hate, man. And if you think that she's fighting people who's nobodies, like I said, go in every women's division and look at who's fighting who. Look at who's fighting who, and you tell me where all these great opponents coming from that these other women are fighting. And why is the female division so unpopular regardless? And right now, if you say Hannah Gabriels, if you say Claressa Shields, if you say Katie Taylor or Cecilia Brækhus, that's like really the only names that people even care about in female boxing. We talk about a whole division of women, but a whole sport, a whole, however you want to label it, of women, and it's only a handful of names that people even know who the hell they are. So, again, like I'm saying, you may live somewhere where people might know who certain people are. A few people, but you got to understand, that's where you are. Just like over here where I'm at. Nobody's talking about female boxing over here, man. And that's why a lot of times when I do videos, you see me put up certain videos like the females competing in something, because nobody give them their credit as athletes. And it's always, oh, they're not playing, this person's not fighting anybody, this person's not doing this and that. Look, Gary Russell Jr. is fighting in a division where these guys are not bums, but they're just not popular. They don't have the names. So when Gary Russell beats these guys, people are saying they're nobodies. No, they're not nobodies. They just don't have the popularity. So when he beats these guys, guess what? He's not going to get the same rub, the same shine as a Terrence Crawford would for beating the Errol Spence, or Errol Spence for beating the Keith Thurman. He's not going to get that. Not in that division that he's in. And it's a division thing. Also the way, he's being marketed, it's a lot to it. But anyway, now, let's go on. Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo Alvarez. I told you guys I wasn't going to cover this guy, Avni, Yildirim versus Canelo, because it was a fight that was basically a trash fight. Canelo did what he had to do. That guy was no opponent. He should have never been a mandatory. I don't even know how. First off, people think that Chris Eubanks Jr. suck. But Chris Eubanks Jr. beat this guy up. So you don't want to see Chris Eubanks versus Canelo. For one, people feel like Chris Eubanks didn't deserve the shot. And then two, they feel like Canelo would kill him. Well, Canelo just beat a guy that he destroyed, that he beat. So, I mean, Canelo did what he was supposed to do. Okay, you don't supposed to go in there when you have Canelo-type skills and fight a guy like that and have him hang around for 12 rounds, unless you're just not a big puncher at all, but can box or whatever. But Canelo did what he had to do. Okay, I'm not even going to break the fight down. Y'all know what happened, and what happened was supposed to happen. Now, Billy Joe Saunders, this is what I'm going to say about him. Billy Joe Saunders can box. He can box and he can move. He has a solid ring IQ. Now, if you watch Canelo fight, Canelo looks really good against guys who stand in front of him and trying to figure out what's going on and waiting to see what he's going to do. If you're going to play counterpuncher with Canelo, you better have a tight defense and you better have great counterpunch skills. Billy Joe Saunders, I can sit here and tell you what he has to do to win or what I think he has to do, and basically it doesn't really matter. And what's going to happen, what it's going to come down to is in that ring that night, he's going to have to fight instinctively as well. Why? Fighters improve. You may go into a fight thinking, yeah, this guy does this, he does that, but then all of a sudden that night, guess what? He's sharp. He's not making those same mistakes. Billy Joe Saunders is going to have, they're both going to have to be instinctive and adapt to what's going on. Okay, but Canelo was the heavy favorite coming in, so I'm saying it this way for that reason. But Billy Joe Saunders is going to have to box and move as far as I'm concerned. And he's going to have to make Canelo, he's going to have to make him pay, make him understand. You come in here, you're getting cracked. And I'm not going to be a sitting duck for you to come in here and throw these shots and just rack up points on me and you know, crack me with shots. And I'm standing here trying to prove to the crowd that I can take your shot. And that's not what boxing is about. That's ego fighting right there. I'm going to stand here and let you crack me. I'm going to crack you. Let's see who can take it. No, that's stupid. You know, I believe Billy Joe Saunders has the tools. Now, can he put it all together and beat Canelo? That's yet to be seen. Now, you have people saying, like I said earlier, that Canelo's going to run him out the ring. He's no competition. Well, then what's the purpose of even fighting this guy? Well, he has a title, right? So how much does it mean if Billy Joe Saunders is a trash fighter, then what does this victory mean? But guess what? On paper, it's going to be another victory, another title. So I look at him, I look at Caleb Plant, I look at Benavidez. And to me, those are the best guys that Canelo can fight at that division. Now, Canelo beats those guys. He's earned his stripes at that 168 division. It's another accomplishment under his belt. I don't think Billy Joe Saunders is no bum. I don't think that Caleb Plant is no bum. I don't think that Benavidez is no bum. Everybody doesn't have the same skill level. And I don't understand why these guys, well, I do understand why. I really do. Okay, and most of these guys, they never had a fight a day in their life, and they think that it's easy to sit up and just put fights together in their head, and this guy should do this, and this guy's going to do this, but it doesn't work that way. Okay, and fight night, like I always say, you don't know what a guy's going to come with fight night. So it's easy to talk about what you think is going to happen. However it happens, we'll see. Like I said before, everybody thought Evander Holyfield had to dance and move like Ali in order to beat Mike Tyson. No, he didn't dance and move like Ali. He got on his toes and bounced around a little bit, but he stayed right in front of him for the most part. And he had a different strategy, and it worked. So regardless to whether you like his strategy or not, it worked for him. And Mike couldn't do nothing about it. So guess what? He was the better man. It's as simple as that. I think Billy Joe Saunders, he seems to be very confident. You know, he seems to you know, understand that Canelo is a human being just like him. And he just has to be ready to fight that night just like any other night. But again, this is an opportunity for him. This is his first big step-up fight. So, you know, you want to perform well, but the point is you want to go out there and win. So this is the one fight where, now, if you watch Canelo, he's a pressure fighter, but he just walks in. He doesn't come in with quick head movement and cut you off and try to chop you down. He just walks in calmly, takes his time. Even though he walks you down, he strategically tries to pick you apart. You understand what I'm saying? So when you stand there and you're not shooting a jab in his face, or, you know, giving him angles where he can't land the shots he wants, you're just standing there, you know, playing peekaboo with him, yeah, he'll pretty much chop you down. Let's be real, people. Canelo is a solid fighter, but I think what happens is people are so focused on what Canelo does right that they overlook the things that his opponents can take advantage of and capitalize on. And see, I believe that, well, put it to you this way. If Billy Joe Saunders understands that and he sees it that way, oh, there's things he can take advantage of with Canelo. There's things he can definitely take advantage of. And again, Canelo said he feels comfortable. So if Charlo says he's comfortable at 160, don't say, oh, he's avoiding Canelo. No, because somebody can easily say, well, he's avoiding Charlo because he don't want to go to 160. That's why he's saying he's comfortable at 168. And don't say, oh, because, well, Canelo's the bigger name. Well, so what? Now, if Charlo feels comfortable at 168, and I want to see the fight. I just want to see the fight. And in all honesty, I don't know how much Charlo walk around, the way he walk around, you know, his walk around rate, but, you know, fighters have always gone up and down in weight throughout the history of boxing, okay? As long as you do it in a healthy way and you can carry it, no problem. No problem. I just want to see the fight. And like I always say, may the best man win. No matter who I want to win, may the best man win. I'm not going to lose no sleep over whoever wins or lose, man. But at the end of the day, I believe that what Canelo is doing right now, he's doing it at his pace. He's doing it the way he wants to do it. And pretty much people overlook that a lot of times. There's people that catch it, but people overlook that. And if other fighters are saying, man, I want to fight, but hey, it's going to be fair. And if a guy can't make a certain weight, if it's too much for him, or if it's not, it's too much weight to lose, too much weight to gain, then it's a catch weight. But I don't think a title fight should be at a catch weight. If you're going to fight for somebody's title, you're defending your title, you should defend it at the weight that title represents. I don't want to see no catch weight. So it's either he's going to unify 168, go down and fight Charlo, or Charlo come up and fight him. I just want to see the fight, you know. Another thing, I saw Shane Mosley, you know, Jr. And he paused. I saw him against this guy, Christian Olivius, okay? It's kind of funny because we never talk about Shane Mosley's son. A lot of times, to be honest with you, I forget that he even boxed. This was the first time I've seen him fight. I've watched videos and stuff, like, but this is the first time I've seen him fight in a while. He's now 17-3. Listen, he's 30 years old, and he looked better now than what I've seen him in the past, but he still has those mistakes of standing still, waiting for the receipt to come back. He cash in, boom, okay, where's my receipt? And he gets cracked. He showed a good chin, but there was those mistakes that he make. It's like a lot of times I watched him stand in, you know, and he's getting ready to throw a shot. He'll wait, he'll feint, he'll throw that one shot. If he lands the shot, it's like, ooh, like standing in it and admire his work, you know, and then bam, he gets cracked in return. Or he'll throw shots and he'll try to cut a shot and he stands there, head straight up, chin sticking out. Mistakes that will get him knocked out fighting against a Charlo or J-Rock and people like that. And, you know, he got a late start in boxing, so he doesn't have that wear and tear of fighting since you were 5 to 8 years old and starting, you know, training at 5 and, you know, first fight at 8 and so on. But at 30 and at his record right now, for one, you don't want to take your fighter and stick them in there before they're ready. And then two, it's like, when does Father Time start to kick in on each fighter? It's all different. It doesn't happen the same way in the same time to everybody. But, you know, he's 30 now. What I'm looking at with him is where he is right now. He looked good enough to beat the guy he fought. completely shut his right eye completely. They stopped it at the end of the 5th round. It was like it was no need to go on. And he looked good in that fight. He won. He definitely won. I thought he only lost the 1st round only. From the 2nd on, he completely just outclassed the guy. And he did a good job. But the mistakes that he make are the same mistakes I've been seeing him make forever, man. It's just that he's putting his punches together better now, and he looks more comfortable. But those mistakes that he make, it will cost him against the elite guys. Does he ever get to the point where he fights an elite guy? I don't know, man. I don't know. But and I wish every fighter nothing but the best, man. It's just watching him. I'm like, man, it's already hard enough when you have a legendary father. Now you're in a position where everything you do, instead of people focusing on what you're doing, they're comparing you to your father, and it's just unfair. At the end of the day, man, he got the win, but he definitely has to sharpen up and tighten up with that defense, man. He head straight up, chin out, throwing shots, bring his shots back low, hands, down low, not even ready to guard himself, and bam, he was getting hit with solid shots, man. And you get hit by Jamal Charlo with your chin sticking out like that, you ain't gonna take too many of those. So, yeah. But hey, look, congratulations on the win. He did what he had to do, and you just hey, get better as you go. But those mistakes, I've seen him doing that ever since I first seen him fight, leaving his chin sticking up, his head up, and being irresponsible on defense, getting careless on defense. And he did it often through that fight. In fact, when he got cracked, that's mostly the reason why he was getting cracked, because he was just chin up and, like I said, being irresponsible on defense. But he got the win. He's 30, like I said. It takes a while to get a championship fight, man. So how long will it take him? We don't know. And like I said, between that time and Father Time kicking in, how it happens, we don't know. But anyway, he did what he had to do to get the win. Another thing is, man, I saw an interview with Riddick Bowe on Vlad TV. And I just want to talk about one part, not the whole interview. And it kind of makes me look at people as we grow and mature, okay? That a lot of people, they don't mature. They get older, but they still want to be 16 years old. He was asked the question, like, how did he feel about Trevor Berbick and Larry Holmes when they beat Ali? And he said he hated both of them for beating Ali. But he said he didn't understand at the time. And, when you become a fighter, man, you understand now you might be in the ring with somebody who you looked up to, or, looked at like, man, that's my hero, or whatever it is, your favorite fighter. Now, do you hold back, or do you go in there and take it to him? So he, learned and understood. So he no longer hates Larry Holmes. And, Trevor Berbick, whatever. He said he spoke to Larry Holmes, and Larry explained some things to him. But let me say this, man, okay? And I want people to understand this, okay? Because when people come on your channel, a lot of times, we have so many immature people, really extremely immature people, that a lot of times people don't understand. When you mature, you don't think the way you used to about a lot of things, or you don't see things the same way you used to. Okay, I can tell you, I love to watch comedy. And there's certain comedians I watch. I just be real. I watch Kevin Hart. And I don't know none of these guys. I don't know this guy personally, but I'm listening to the crowd laugh, and I'm sitting there like, okay, I get the joke, but maybe it's just me. But I'm sitting and I'm not even laughing, okay? But there's certain things that you change from, okay? And that part kind of stood out to me, because Riddick Bowe, like he said, man, when he talked to me, and I was young, I was a kid, I didn't know any better. But when you grow, you realize, okay? Example, a small example. This movie Coming to America Part 2 just came out. Now, whether you like the movie or not, to each his own. But one thing that I will say, okay, that I didn't hear anybody say, whether you like the movie or not, the one thing everybody does, especially when a movie is a hit, they compare the sequel to the original, which is unnecessary because the original is always going to be the original. Sequels very rarely live up to, the original, or a lot of times people don't even want to give it a chance. Now, this movie was 30 years later. The first movie was in the 80s, grimy, raunchy, nudity, a lot of, curse words and all that. And, it was certain things that was funny about that. Like, for example, when Eddie Murphy comes out, "Good morning, my neighbors," and it's early and everybody, "Yeah, fuck you, yes, yes, fuck you too," because he didn't understand the lingo. So he didn't realize that they were being rude to him and he was being rude. So stuff like that. This movie is family oriented. And all of these guys are older now. So they're not going to do things the same exact way they did back then. This movie was supposed to be in Zamunda, and then it's different. And it was for the family so the family could watch. Now, I could never watch that movie with my kids because I don't curse around my kids. Okay? So for me to let them listen to music where they're cursing and swearing and all that, or watch movies with the same thing and nudity and all that, then what happens now? Your kids are in school and you get a call, well, your kid said this and this and that. One of the first questions that people ask your kids is, where did you learn this language? Now, if daddy and mommy's walking around here talking like that, right? What kind of example am I setting? Or imagine them asking and they say, hey, well, I saw this movie and this guy's, and kids are very impressionable. They watch movies and they think the characters are cool and they try to imitate. No different from us as kids. Right? Imitating Bruce Lee. Simple. And I thought about that and I said, yeah, it's not shocking and it's not something I'm not aware of, but it's like we have a lot of immature people that come on the channel and they speak with their emotions and not understanding everybody has the right to their opinion. It's like I said earlier, like there's no hard feelings about Katie Taylor and Claressa Shields comparisons. I don't care. But I wasn't making a comparison between her and people who was not in her division. So when I say, just like if I said Anthony Joshua is head and shoulders above everybody else, I'm talking about heavyweights. Why am I comparing Anthony Joshua to somebody he can't fight? You understand what I'm saying? Why would I? So same thing. Like I said, right? Katie Taylor's 135, Claressa's 160 and up. Why the hell would I compare her to Claressa Shields? And then on top of that, like I said, they fight and she lose. Oh, she was just too small. But if she was the same size, then she would have won. Blah, blah, blah. Man, it's not necessary for all that fantasy bullshit. Either they're going to fight at one point or they're not. And they probably won't. Unless her body grows to where she has to move up and she feels more comfortable. Neither one of them are big punches either. So it's worse for her to come up. Your power's not going to carry. If you're not knocking people out like that at the division that you are. She got like 8 knockouts out of her 17 fights. So for her to go up and fight at a much heavier weight, okay, Claressa's punches would feel harder than those women at 135 to her. And she's already a smaller person. You guys with intelligence should understand what I'm saying. Okay, but the comments was not about comparing people from different. Now, if we were to, and I still feel she's the best female fighter out there, but again, Katie Taylor is no joke. So I can understand why people juggle or even, debate that. But I don't do debates and I don't care. To each his own. But we have so many immature people. Sometime when I go in my old neighborhood and I see these guys still standing on the corner with one pants leg rolled up, standing out on the corner with teenagers, refusing to be men. Baby mamas coming out with strollers. You going on the corner with your baby in a stroller on a drug block. And then people say, man, why you don't come through? Come through for what, man? Why? So I got to call home, hey, man, like I need some bail money. Because I'm out here wasting my time standing on the corner. If I go to your house, we're going to your house, or we're going out to eat. We're going to go bowling. We're going to go play some pool. We're going to do something, right? Let's go hooping. Let's go do something, right? I'm not driving anywhere to park my car and let's stand on the corner like a bunch of drug dealers. like a bunch of kids who have nothing to do. And if I have to stand on the corner with you, that means pretty much you don't even have your own place. And you're probably one of them grown men still living with your parent, and she don't want company in the house. Don't bring them niggas in my house. You know how it goes. Don't bring them niggas in my house. You get out there and you do whatever. So I have no interest in those things. So I'm just saying we get a lot of that on here where people don't realize, okay, that we're grown adults. And I use these analogies because I want people to understand where I'm coming from, okay? Like back in the day, there was a rapper like, okay, for who listens to rap music, you know who Kool G Rap is, right? Well, right now, Kool G Rap is somewhere in his 50s. He went the gangster rap route. Do you really want to hear Kool G Rap at 50-something years old coming out talking about, yeah, nigga, I'll pop the chrome, nigga, stick the chrome in your mouth, blow your dome or not? Do you really want to hear that? Don't you think at this age, that this stage in his life, he should have a completely different message that he's giving to the people? Or is it that at 50-something years old, you still can think the same way you did at 19? So, I'm just saying. So when you have a mature mindset and you are outnumbered by idiots, just like you have far more casual boxing fans, like I said, than actual boxing fans who have knowledge and understanding and realize that there's always something to learn and grow. And not think you know every goddamn thing, especially for you motherfuckers who've never in your life even put a pair of boxing gloves on and hit a fucking punching bag, never hit a speed bag, never jumped rope and did nothing. Never even slap boxed with anybody, but yet you know so much about fighting from experience. No, you don't. And what I see so much of right now is people, again, just coming on here just to debate and argue, just to make foolish points about nothing. I'll say this again, and I've said it many times before. If Anthony Joshua gets knocked out in his very next fight, if Errol Spence lose, if the Charlos lose, bro, I don't lose no sleep. I'll go, damn. Yeah. Maybe next time. All right, so look, we going bowling. What we doing? That's what I do. That's what I do. I'm not going to lose no sleep over what happened to another man. Okay? This is a sport. These guys are making a lot of money to do what they're doing, and this is what they chose to do. Hey, I know the life of a fighter, so guess what? It is what it is. But for me to walk around crying and feeling some kind of way about it and jumping on social media cursing and mad at you because, man, fuck that shit, man, motherfucker, yeah, Anthony Joshua lost, you're talking. No. I'm just going to report the news and move on to the next one, man. That's just what I do. And that's all it is for me. So for everybody that take these things to heart and want to come on here with this ignorant nonsense, skip over Aries Zodiac Boxing. Go to the LDBC or wherever you get that soft ass mentality from, and y'all sit up here and argue over y'all little boyfriends, y'all little fantasy boxing crushes or whatever. Because I'd be damned if I'm going to sit here arguing and getting mad over another man. I don't even get mad. I don't care about none of that stuff. Okay, I watch movies because I think the movie seems like it's going to be a good movie from the trailer and the build up to it, not because of who's in it. I love like the stuff that Marvel do. You know how many movies Mark Ruffalo and all these other guys are in? I don't go, oh, Mark Ruffalo's in it? I got to buy that. No. I just like the Avengers. And his role is the Hulk, David Banner, and what they do. Okay, cool. But just in general, no, I'm not a fan. And I got to constantly remind people, because you always have people that want to label you, think you're a fan of someone, and that you're, no. There's people who I don't even care for their character, their personality. But I'll give them their credit simply because I'm not hating on nothing. For what? So anyway, look, I got probably another video or two that I'm going to put out today. And I'll see how things go. I've been busy, man, real busy. And there's not really been much to talk about that's been going on in boxing. I don't want to do the he said, she said, and this guy called out this guy, he said that, and he's ducking. I really don't want to do it. I have no interest in that. My energy's not even the same for that type of stuff. All I care about, if the fight's going to happen, then it happens. If not, then it don't. I have a life. Like I said, I don't try to live vicariously through anybody else. I love my life. I love life, period. We all dealing with this pandemic, and it is what it is. But listen, that's all I'm going to say in this video. I will catch y'all on the next one.